welcome back to the Dear Herbalist podcast, where we explore the space where plant medicine, foundational sciences, community care, and grounded practice all meet. This is the first episode of 2026, and tonight's episode is called The Intentional Herbalist, Designing Your Year Ahead. If you are new to this channel, you are most certainly welcome. And if you are a continued listener, thank you so much for tuning in. Now, before I get started, I want to say I'm recording this podcast right now. My boys are outside running around. So if you hear yay in the background, I have to record when I can record. So this is real life right here. So you may hear that in the background. Don't worry about it. It's just kids that are finally happy to be able to get out in this Midwest weather and run around and play, even though it's still cold. But hey, there's no snow on the ground, so they're enjoying themselves. So let my kids enjoy themselves, just in case someone wants to say, hey, I hear other things in the background. Yeah, it's my kids. Hopefully they won't be too loud or too distracting. If I do a playback and I hear that, I may have to record this again when they're inside and in their rooms doing what boys do. But we'll see. We'll play it by ear. We just want to keep it real in 2026. So, welcome to everyone. In tonight's episode, The Intentional Herbalist, Designing the Year Ahead. This is going to be your invitation to step out of reactive mode and into a more spacious, thoughtful relationship with your work, your body, and your community for the next 12 months ahead. So instead of just adding more goals or projects to your plate, tonight we are going to reflect on what actually worked and what clearly didn't this past year. We're going to get honest about your real capacity, your time, your energy, and nervous system. We are going to choose a few clear priorities for your herbal practice rather than 10 competing ones. And we're going to translate those priorities into simple, doable actions that you can actually start this week. So let's get into this. Now, whether you are a home herbalist, a community herbalist, or running an herbal clinic or education space, tonight's episode is here to help you design a year that feels aligned, sustainable, and deeply rooted in your values. So take a deep breath, inhale, exhale, grab a notebook, your favorite pen, your favorite cup of tea, and let's begin. Now, let's start with grounding and looking back. Before planning the year ahead, ground yourself, which means to just simply sit still. Sit still. Don't have nothing going on, no noise, no kids, no spouses, no dogs, the goldfish jumping and flopping. Get somewhere where there's absolutely no noise and just sit with yourself. And honestly, look at the year behind you, 2025. Now think back over the last year of your life in herbal medicine. Think about what felt alive and easeful and energizing. Where do you feel overextended or resentful or depleted? And when did you feel most like yourself as an herbalist, whether that was teaching or formulating, tending to a garden, or sitting with someone and really listening to what their issues are? So what you can do, you might want to pause this episode and jot down two things. One, 3 things that worked well in your herbal practice this past year. That's one. Number 2, 3 things that clearly did not work, okay, and that you don't want to repeat. I'll say it again. Write down 3 things that worked well in your herbal practice this past year, and 2, write down 3 things that clearly did not work and that you don't want to repeat going into the year ahead. This reflection becomes your compost pile. You're deciding what to keep as nourishment and what to let break down so that you don't carry it going forward, because we don't want that. Now let's clarify your role and your scope going forward. Intentional design starts with being clear about who you are and who you are not in herbal practice. This is very important, especially for those that are new to the field. You have to establish that early on. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you're being thrown for a whirlwind, and you don't want that. So what you want to do is ask yourself, 1, am I primarily a home herbalist supporting myself and my loved ones? 2, am I a community herbalist offering classes, mutual aid, or low-cost support? 3, am I a clinical herbalist seeing one-on-one clients within a defined scope of practice? Or 4, am I an educator, formulator, or medicine maker serving other herbalists. Now, you might hold more than one of these roles, let's just be clear, but one is usually more primary than the others. So what naming this will help you do is to choose realistic goals, communicate clear boundaries, and avoid stepping into roles that you're not trained or resourced to hold. So take a moment and complete this sentence that I'm about to give you. This year, I'm choosing to stand primarily in the role of a fill in the blank herbalist, serving fill in the blank. So for example, you can say, this year, I am choosing to stand primarily in the role of a community herbal educator, serving beginner home herbalists in my city. Or you can say, I am choosing to stand in the role of a clinical herbalist, serving adults, managing chronic stress and burnout. This one sentence, no matter what your sentence is or what you fill in, this one sentence becomes a filter for everything you say yes to or everything that you have to say no to, and this is for the rest of the year. Keeps you focused. Let's talk about values, capacity, and non-negotiables. Now that your role is clear and you kind of understand what you're trying to do, the next layer is values and capacity. Let's look at first your core values. What you want to do is ask yourself, what matters most to me in my herbal work this year? So is it accessibility, safety, cultural humility, evidence-informed practice? Is it joy, slowness, rest, or is it something else? What you want to do is try choosing 2 to 3 core values and writing them down. So for example, your core values could be accessible, trauma-aware, and rooted in community. Or it can be evidence-informed, simple, and sustainable. These are some of the values that you can write down. It's whatever you feel your core values are. What is that burning sensation that sits in the bottom of your stomach? Now let's look at your capacity. The capacity says, what can you realistically do? How many hours a week can you truly devote to herbal work without burning out? What other responsibilities do you have? Do you have a family? Do you have a job? Do you have health that have to be honored? Can't get rid of it. Like, well, you know what? I'm just going to pursue my career. I'm going to get rid of everything I've ever had before, and I'm just going to stay focused on my career. Good luck with that. And then also, what is your body telling you about pacing and rest and realistic output? This is the reason why sometimes you have to sit quiet and really pay attention to your body, because you will feel it. It will speak to you. You'll be able to, and I'm not talking about some hoodoo type of way, but just really paying attention to your body. It'll tell you when you are tired, when you can't go any further. You know, you'll feel fatigue, you'll feel exhaustion, you'll feel irritability. All these things, the body is saying, listen, sit your behind down. I can't do it no more. So the body also helps you identify what your capacity is as well. And once you identify your capacity, meaning what can you realistically do, from here you want to set 2 to 3 non-negotiables for the year. And these are things that protect your health and your ethics. So that could be no more unpaid labor beyond my chosen volunteer projects. Okay? Because as an herbalist, you're going to have people that come to you and say, oh, can you speak here? Can you speak here? Can you do this here? Can you set up a table here? Can you do full out salve herbal projects and for free? You know, and it's like, now I can talk all day long for free. However, if you're asking me to create products, or, you know, have a class of 50 people and they all want to make a salve and you don't want to pay, guess who has to pay for that? I do. So, you know, people got to try you, right? Don't do that, by the way. But people got to try you. So no more unpaid labor beyond my chosen volunteer projects. All right. Another one you could say, at least 1 full day each week, completely off from any herbal or care work. You could also say, no taking on long-term clients without a clear scope, an intake process, and a documentation system. These non-negotiables become the edges of your container so that intention can flourish without you collapsing. And it also helps you set boundaries. Now let's zero in a little bit and focus on choosing your herbal focus areas. And like I said before, I'm really big on herbalists, especially beginning herbalists, really identifying the areas you want to specialize in and niche down from there. And the reason being is because in herbal medicine, in plant medicine, in studying the human body, you're never going to know everything about everything. So when you try to just eat that elephant whole, it becomes frustrating, you get discouraged, and you don't want to do it. It feels like a huge mountain in front of you that you'll never get over. So you don't want to do that. You want to start off with your focus. It'll keep you passionate. It'll help you understand your why. These are the reasons why you don't want to just dive out there and I'm going to just be an herbalist, just general. I don't have no focus. I don't have no specialization. I'm just going to do it all. And that's not realistic. So instead of trying to do everything herbal, intentional design means choosing a few focus areas for the year. So you want to consider categories like learning and study, or clinical or community work, or teaching and education, product making or formulation, systems and infrastructure, and that's typically charting, booking, and communication. Community outreach and mutual aid, you can focus on that. But you want to ask yourself, what do I most want to learn or deepen into this year? Maybe it's herbal pharmacology, formulation, or a specific body system like the nervous or respiratory system. How do I want to actually practice herbalism? Is that through consultations? Is that through classes, zines, plant walks, online courses, community clinics? How do you actually want to bring herbal medicine to the main stage? And then 3, what behind the scenes systems that need to be built so that my practice feels calmer and more sustainable, as well as organized. And what you want to do is pick no more than 3 focus areas for the year. Okay, no more than 3. That helps keep you centered. So some of those focus areas can be the nervous system and burnout related herbal care, or building a simple community class series. It could be creating or refining core practice systems, like I said before, with intake forms, follow-up templates, and tracking the herbs with the clients. Everything you add to your calendar should always connect back to one of these 3 focus areas, or it becomes a candidate for a gentle, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Get somebody else to do it. Okay? Now, how do we take this? You've kind of built your vision. How do we turn it into a practical plan? And for some of you, I know I'm kind of moving through this, but I just wanted to get the information out here. Definitely feel free to go back on the replay, play it again, and write down the details of this podcast. So let's look at turning your vision into a practical plan. I want you to look at it in terms of 3 layers, in terms of your plan. You want to have at the top layer, and this is the big picture of what you want the year to feel like. This is your yearly vision. That's the top layer, yearly vision. Up under that layer, you have quarterly themes. These are 3-month chunks where you emphasize 1 or 2 focus areas. Then up under that, you want your monthly or weekly actions. These are concrete small steps. So let me give you a quick example. Let's say your yearly vision is to help your herbal practice feel more spacious and steady and focus on nervous system support for your community. Your quarter theme up under that, quarter theme number 1, could be foundations and systems. And this is where you finish basic intake forms, clarify your scope and disclaimers, and set up a simple scheduling system. Quarter 2 theme, it could be teaching and outreach. So during this time, you can host 2 small workshops on stress and sleep support. Quarter 3's theme could be deep study. And this is where you focus on herbal pharmacology and formulation for the nervous system herbs, and maybe 1 course or self-study plan. And then quarter 4, this theme could be consolidate and reflect. During this time, you are reviewing what worked, what didn't, refine things, and decide what to carry into the next year. So once you have those themes together, now you want to translate it into monthly or weekly actions. So that could be week 1, you're going to draft or update your intake form or disclaimers. Week 2 could be choose 3 to 5 core nervine herbs to study in depth this quarter. Week 3 could be outline a 60-minute workshop on herbal strategies for everyday stress. Week 4 can be do 1 outreach action. whether it be email a local community center, clinic, or mutual aid group about offering a class. The key here is to keep actions small and specific enough so that you can actually complete them in the time and the capacity that you said you had earlier. So keep them small. Now let's talk about boundaries, money, and sustainability. That is a huge, huge conversation that needs to continue on in herbal medicine forever. Because no intentional herbal year is complete without talking about boundaries, sustainability, and that definitely includes money. So some of the questions that you want to ask is, how will I protect my emotional and energetic boundaries with clients, students, or community members? Another question you can ask, what is my policy around DMs, texting, or quick questions that are actually consults? And a lot of people, and this really is in a lot of industries, where people are like, oh, I just got a quick question. I want to ask you something real quick. Oh, this is just real quick. And in herbal medicine, real quick looks like, for some people that say real quick, they have these multiple different chronic health issues going on at once. They have several different medications to address each one. They're high stress. They don't eat right. They have a lot of trauma. And they have a real quick question about what they can do about this particular health issue. That is a consultation. One, because you have to ask way too many questions and get to the bottom of too much stuff that one quick question time that they expect could answer. Okay, the body is a little more complex than that, as well as plants. So we can't just shoot out stuff that off the hip. No. Especially if they're taking medications. So those quote unquote quick questions are not actually quick questions. A quick question to me is, hey, you recommended that I take your particular tea. Can I take this tea in hot form or cold form? That's a quick question. Or, hey, I called because I forgot to sign that disclaimer form. Can I come back to the office to sign it? That's a quick question. Or, hey, I have a friend that I would like to recommend to you, and I would like to see if I can set up a time for them to do a consult. That is a quick question, right? Not some of the other stuff that we typically get. The other thing that you can ask yourself is, what sliding scale, donation-based, or paid structures will keep this work sustainable for you and accessible for my people? And that's one of the things in herbal medicine. We always are trying to strike a balance between how can we make this sustainable for ourselves, but also, especially if you do it full time, but also how can we make sure that the medicines are accessible for the people at large? And I do have some suggestions around that. Real quickly, one of the things is trying to find herbs that are local. Because if you're digging them out the ground for free, ta-da, it's free. It's no problem in having a sliding scale or donation based if you know the herbs that you're getting, you're sourcing them from around you, so it's your time, right? So there's a lot of different ways, and we can talk about that in the years ahead, in the year ahead, during various teaching methods and things like that. I do want to put in a side note real quick, and I'll get back to the podcast. The podcast going ahead, I want them to speak to more motivational things. I also want to talk more about current issues that are going on. So you're going to see a shift in the conversations, not too much. It's all still relevant to your life as an herbalist in these healthy world that we live in. But I also wanted to speak to a lot of the issues that are going on today. So you're going to see a little bit of a shift, not too much. And I'm going to leave more of my teaching to YouTube. So you can definitely catch a lot of teachings as I begin to start recording and uploading them there on a variety of different subjects. One of them will definitely be about accessibility and making things accessible to people without breaking your bank or your back, in trying to care for the sick world that we live in. So that's just a little side note there going forward. All right, now let's roll back here to boundaries, money, and sustainability. So you've asked yourself these questions and what you might want to do in order to create those boundaries and think about sustainability and all that. One of the things that you can do is create simple office hours or a specific way to contact you. If you're somebody that's online, then you can always definitely have a specific way. Let's say maybe not give out your phone number, but maybe give out an email. And you say, I check emails at this specific time or this many times a week, and I will get back to you within this specific time. Just make sure you get back with people, you know. You can also create clear language on your website, your intake forms and flyers about what you do, what you don't do, and when to seek medical care. And this is very important. It protects you as the herbalist because, you know, unfortunately, we live in a very litigious society. And we as herbalists, we don't have a big engine protecting us from people that may not be so honest, or people that, you know, because you told them that they have to actually go to the gym and eat right, they got offended, and now they're on every social media platform trying to drag you. You know, you just gotta be careful. You gotta protect yourself. So make sure everywhere there is your name that it's clear, you know, what you do, what you don't do, and when to seek medical care. And then you can also create a short script for saying no. For those of you that are not big on saying no, or you feel bad, or whatever the case may be, create yourself a short script and email it to the person. Say, you know what, I'll look at this opportunity, give me an email, I'll contact you via email. And you can do it that way if you don't feel comfortable saying no to their face, you know. Or you can also create a short script of redirecting. So when you have a request that may fall outside of your role or your capacity, then you can, you know, shoot that person an email, or you can talk to them if face to face and just say, well, no, that's really not within the scope of what I do. This is more so what I focus on. So it's about creating boundaries. The important thing to remember is that with intentional design, it's not just about doing more good things, loading yourself up. It's also about saying no to things that are misaligned, that may be exploitative or draining patterns, so that your herbal work can stay rooted for many years to come and to keep you focused. So in closing, as you move into this new year of 2026, remember that you do not have to reinvent your entire practice overnight. Small intentional steps that are taken consistently are often more powerful than dramatic, unsustainable overhauls. Here is one simple invitation. Okay, here's something that I want you to think about. Number 1, choose one sentence that captures your role. Number 2, choose 2 or 3 values. And number 3, choose one focus area for the next 3 months. Write them down somewhere where you will see them often, whether it's in your planner, in your kitchen, on the wall of your business, or your wherever, the gym, wherever. Put it somewhere where you're going to see them often. And if this episode spoke to you, please consider sharing it with another herbalist who is also trying to design a more intentional year. You can tag your reflections or your herbal intentions for the year with whatever hashtag that fits your project or community, and let others know that they are not doing this work alone. And if you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social media sites at The Demystified Herbalist. Go over to my website at www.thedemystifiedherbalist.com and get all information, knowledge, recipes. Resource central. Go over there and go ahead and look through there and get you some good stuff to help you out with next year. And until next time, family, happy planning, stay intentional, and I'm out.